What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Barber Block Podcast. Today we have another special guest here, and he is from Fade Type Barbershop. And so here we are. We're going to be talking to a real barber, talking about real people and real talk today. So he is here to inspire you, to educate you, and just share his story. So please help me welcome Justice.
Right on.
Welcome today, man. Appreciate you joining us today, and
thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You are a legend around town. I don't know if you know that, but many people talk about you. So let's just jump right into it. So where are you from?
Originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. I moved out here in 1990 to come out here to visit with my dad and end up loving the sunshine. I had 21 years in Indianapolis, you know what I mean? And like I said, I came out here to visit my dad and fell in love with the sunshine and palm trees.
So at the time you got here, what were you doing?
I was barbering.
You were already barbering,
sir.
So you got your license back in Indiana?
Yes, I went through high school. I was lucky enough to go through they called it a magnet program in Indiana. Mm-hmm. And my high school had barbering, cosmetology, culinary, auto body, and auto mechanics. Mm-hmm. And a dry cleaning. So it was trying to give us trades, you know, on the way out of high school.
Yeah, that's important. You know, high school is giving you a trade, so you come out of school ready to enter the workforce. Whether you decide to go to college after that or you stick with that that trade, so you always have that skill. So, what drove you to become a barber? What was your passion for it?
I can just say it was fate. You know, me and one of my best friends back in Indiana, we used to cut each other's hair and. We used to do a chili bow, straight up chili bow, and the straighter it was around, the better it was. So I believe my grandmother saw us doing that, and she used to let me open up a gift every Christmas or Christmas Eve. She let us open up a gift, you know, before we beat them bugged her. So I think this was maybe about 13 years old. And it was a little bitty box, but it was heavy. I'm like, what? I'm going to open this. And it was a pair of clippers. And I went over to my best friend's house. It was two homes down. And went in the basement, and he asked me to give him a ball fade with part down the middle. It was a basketball player back then in Louisville, Milt Wagner. He wanted the Milt Wagner part. Well, I told that man, I didn't know how to do a fade. Yeah, I butchered him, but I think he was paramount in me, you know, keeping on going because he said, you know, don't worry about it, you'll get it. Like I was supposed to get it. You know what I mean? If he would have been like, man, why your grandma buy you them clippers? You know, it might have been a whole different story. But yeah, that's how I got started. And then the high school I went to closed down. I went to it was kind of like a really kind of famous high school in Indianapolis. It was John Marshall, and it was Arlington High School. It was a big rivalry, East Side, you know. But anyway, they closed John Marshall High School, and so I had to transfer. And my grandmother looking at my transcripts and looking at my transfer and stuff, going to the next school, and showed me that they offered barbering. And so I was thinking about just goofing off. You know, it was a class. I'm gonna get the goof off. I ain't got to be serious.
Right.
You know, so I was like, yeah, I'll take the barbering, and you know, and it ended up being, you know, one of the best moves I ever made.
Yeah. So when so the haircut was first before you actually got into the barbering program. So you got the clippers first.
Right.
Okay, because you were already doing the chili bowl. And I remember that. I actually remember tying the shoestring around my head and trying to hit it up to get that.
Yeah, by yourself.
By myself, yeah. So I know about that chili bowl cut. So when you get to the high school and you're transferring and you're getting into the barbering program. At what point did you say, okay, I need to be serious about this, and my mentality of taking this class to goof off had changed?
Yeah, pretty much my senior year. By the time I had really start to see the effects of barbering. I was cutting at home. I was doing the barber. My first year there, doing the barbering stuff. It was a lot of the friends would come by early mornings, edge up before school and whatnot. And my grandmother cut that off. She was like, "No, ain't gonna be no early morning, or Sundays. They used to come on Sundays to try to get a haircut, and that's the Lord's day. She wasn't having that.
Right.
But my senior year, going into my senior year, the man across the street had a yard sale. And in the yard sale, he had a barber chair. And I went and bought the barber chair for $50. So I had a barber chair in the basement. I'm in barber school and learning sanitation and everything. So I pretty much had a full-fledged barbershop in my grandma's basement.
The basement.
Yeah, man. And that's really where it started. I was doing design haircuts. My first design was an Adidas tennis shoe. Remember the song My Adidas?
My Adidas, yes.
I did an Adidas tennis shoe in the back of a guy's head, and man, it was on from there.
Yeah. So what back in those days, what did a haircut cost? What were you charging?
I think I was charging maybe $7, $7 for a design.
Yeah.
You do a fancy part or something.
And for a regular cut, same?
Yeah, it was $5.
Okay.
$5.
$5,
Basically
okay.
$5.
All right. And then what at the time, so you graduated high school there. Did you get your license right after graduation, or how did that?
As soon as
what
I
was
turned
that process?
18, it was almost simultaneously. The summer of '88, I graduated high school. Then in December, I turned 18, and so I think it was January the 3rd or 4th. I took the barber test.
Okay. And you mentioned you've been raised by your grandmother. Were your other parents around, or you said your dad was here in Arizona?
Right. And my mom was around, but just for convenience of life, I have a sister also, so my mom was taking care of both of them, but my grandmother chose to, help her out and let me stay. And it was just a little more stable for me getting back and forth to school. So that was the basis of, but my dad was in and out of life, in and out of my life, but coming to Arizona was a chance for me to really, get to bond with him and really know his story.
So when you made that decision, what was that process like? Like, okay, what was the moment you said, I'm going to go to Arizona? What was that factor that?
Well, it wasn't a moment. It was the first morning I woke up in Arizona. When I got here, I took a red eye from Indiana here, and it was dark, So the very next morning, when I opened my eyes up and the sun was shining through the blinds, and I was like, wow, I slept till 12, you know what I mean? Back in Indiana, the sun don't shine like that until, 11, 12 o'clock in the daytime. And I looked at the clock, and it said 7:05. I looked back out the window, I looked out the window and I seen the palm trees, and that's when I had a dream, and I thought it was California. When I had seen the palm trees in the sunlight that way, and I always thought it was California. And then when I did that, I was like, oh, it's Arizona. And I was into basketball, pretty heavy at the time. So first thing I did was go outside and shoot some hoops. It was a beautiful day. I think it was a April too. I think it was the first couple weeks of April. So, and then it'll trick you like that.
All right. So from that point, when you say, okay, this is the place for me, how did you go about immersing yourself into the barbering industry? What was your first?
Well, my dad had a shop.
Okay.
So I had just graduated, and he had just opened his shop. So that was one of the appeal,
Okay.
Come out and work in his shop. It was on 48th Street and Broadway. 1991. Yeah, Funky Fresh.
Funky Fresh. Huh?
Funky Fresh Beauty Salon.
So how long did you work under your dad? What did he, was he a mentor to you? Or,
definitely, definitely. You know, it just, you know, showed me the possibilities that, you know, were open. You know, I always thought of owning a shop, but I wasn't sure how it was going to happen. But so I ended up, me and my dad had a falling out, and I went to work in another shop on the south side. It was called King Clipper at the time, and there was Sound Forest was the barber there. That's where I believe my dad had started out with Sound before he went on to buy his own shop. And so yeah, that's where the foundation of the south side really was built, right there in that place.
And so with the falling out with your dad, was it some like you were just smelling yourself and you guys just couldn't be in the same place? Or
kind of, sort of that, kind of, sort of, you know what I mean? I'm getting older and, you know, I already had a chip on my shoulder anyway. So, you know, he didn't have too much wiggle room. But, you know, with that and business practice ideas were different, you know. So, you know, I was off to prove that, you know, I knew what I was talking about.
Gotcha. And so when you opened your first shop, what was that? What was the name of the first shop you opened?
Fade Tight.
It was Fade Tight,
yes,
so
sir.
It's been the same name. And what year was that?
That was just about 93 going into 94.
Okay, so it was just a couple of years after arriving here.
Yes, sir.
And what was that process like, building your own business? You know, what were the ups? What were the downs?
Man, again, all I can say is just pretty much like fate, you know. I came to the city. A lot of guys were still rocking Jerry curls. It's still, you know, it wasn't. They weren't up on a lot of things that we were. You know, doing the designs, adding color, even you know, some of the razor work. You know, guys wasn't, you know, up on it out here. So when I got here, it was, you know, like a burst. It was, you know, it was easy, you know what I mean? Because all I had to do was put out a few free haircuts, you know, and the word, you know, it caught on fire. You know, it caught on fire.
Yeah, and so you were doing things that people hadn't seen before.
Right.
Here in Arizona.
In Arizona, and even, you know, back east, even, you know, still pretty much leading edge on the stuff that, you know, I was doing. I was here, the first 6-8 months I was here, my little brother was in Fiesta Mall with a haircut, with a Bart Simpson haircut. In the 90s, Bart was big.
Right.
And, I did a Bart Simpson haircut on him, and a lady seen him and came and did an article. They did a newspaper article. I mean, yeah, like first 8 months I was here.
So you had a lot of walking billboards.
Yeah,
for you with the design, so
yes,
you were known
especially
for
with the high school kids. Yeah.
And so, where was that location? The first location of the shop?
It was on 16th Street in Broadway.
Okay,
right, 1712 East Broadway.
Gotcha. And you were there for how long?
Just about 18 years.
Wow. Yeah. That's a long time to be and to become a staple of the community. Because I remember when I first started coming there. It was just, you just see people everywhere on that corner in that parking lot, and then across the street in the dirt parking lot. And
right. We had the American Legion across the street.
Right.
That added to it. You know?
And all kinds of transactions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Whatever you wanted to find, you could find it there. Man, whatever you needed.
Whatever. It was an experience, and it was also we had a cover over. It was a blessing, man, because as many enemies that had, you know, crossed their paths there, that, you know, we were blessed to not never have a major, you know, something, man, and it just showed me that, you know, I mean, we have favor because of, you know, as much traffic that we had, and even some of the, you know, millionaires in the city, you know what I mean, the ball players and stuff, you know, and they always felt comfortable. Nobody ever, you know, just one of those places that it was neutral.
Right. Neutral ground for place just for everybody to come together and set aside the differences.
And that's what I wanted. You know, maybe it's because I was out of towner, so I wasn't a part of anything. You know what I mean? So I think that helped it. And the South Side, we needed it. You know what I mean? We needed. What I mean, for unity and to see people, to be able to see some of the superstars in a natural state. You know what I mean? They, on TV, they on TV, but in the hood, they
in the hood. They're right.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You see the real them.
Yeah, and you can ask them questions, and and they was always very cordial.
Yeah. So what celebrities came through the shop? I know there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, man. Shoot, I'm probably gonna forget more than I can remember. But some of the more famous ones are the Phoenix Suns. A lot of the Suns back in the day: Sean Marion, Amari, Penny Hardaway. I've also had some of the comedians that come in. I know producers that do shows and stuff around town. That promoters. I mean that bring their stars through. So, I've had a plethora of guys, man, and some of them still come through. Oliver Miller and Sean Marion, just to name a few. Even Cedric Sabalas, that's one of my good friends. And just recently, one of the guys that I used to cut back in the day, Andre Hastings, he played with Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, he tied the most catches in the Super Bowl. He had 11. He had tied that record at the time at '96 Super Bowl. And I just recently, got back with him. Hadn't seen him in years, but yeah, he had been a client of mine for probably 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was it like to build a good, solid team? Because I did see, a lot of people who just stuck with you for quite some time. So what was that thing that you used to build that solid team to make it strong?
Again, just the right people that came around. A lot of the guys that asked for a job, the ones that stuck, they usually had I don't want to say a premonition, or they usually come and they say something, that spiritually led them there. I can just, all I can say is that I'm blessed, and I try to treat people, the way I want to be treated. So that's the foundation of everything that I do. So that's basically,
And so when you were on 16th and Broadway, then you had to move the shop. What was the reason behind moving the shop?
Well, one was that the owners, it had been a difficult, kind of an up and down type of thing with the heavy flow of traffic. There was a lot of weekends, it was heavy trash. And then, like I said, even with the American Legion, they had their parties, and then there was a lot of residual stuff that went on, with having a business that generated a lot of people. So the owner was getting sick, and his son was taking over, and I don't think he wanted to have the barbershop there, just flat out, So he denied me renewal of a lease. It was a shock. You're not prepared for something like that when you're been doing something so long. You know what I mean? Yeah. But change is good. You have to accept change and move on.
So after moving, you moved to just down the street a little bit. And it was a smaller space.
Right.
And I just remember it still was always packed.
Yeah,
Same people, just smaller space.
Right. And that was supposed to be very temporary, but, with some unfortunate things, it become more, it was more long-term than I had expected. And then when the opportunity for me to go somewhere else came, move over to Fiesta Mall, a lot of the guys were so, pretty much attached, and they had built their clientele there. They wanted to stay. So,
So how did that work out? Was it a second location?
Years, for a few years, it was a second location. And that was fun. But not being there, it morphed into something a little bit different than my vision. And so I tried to merge them, the shops together, but the guys wanted to stay down there. And big ups to Said, man, he's doing a great job. I'm very proud of him. He's one of the guys that came to me 20 years ago, that had been with me, one of the longest guys that had been with me. And, he was really, one of the ones that I could see that learned the craft the best, you know what I mean? And I'm talking about how to deal with people, you know what I mean? Not just having a barbershop, but really how to deal with people and treat people, accordingly. So, he's doing well.
All right, so you let them take that shop over. You're in Fiesta Mall, and at one point you become the only thing open in Fiesta Mall.
Yes.
So what was that like?
It was business as usual for me. It was a little disappointing because of the potential that I thought was going to happen with the mall, the renewal of it, and the businesses it was going to bring. There was even some classes and stuff that they were going to bring, medical and different stuff like that. So that was very disappointing that didn't happen. Part of it due to the COVID pandemic, that slowed a lot of the plans down that the owners had, and basically debacle what they were planning on doing.
Yeah, and I read an article maybe a couple of days ago saying that they're actually planning to demo the whole mall and rebuild something. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's that I know that place has been there for a while. I remember coming when I lived in California, coming here in the 90s, and that was like the poppin' mall to go to back then. So to see it go, something that was long standing, but I don't know what they're going to build, but I know it's being demoed. And so what made you stick it out? I mean, I know the potential was there, but even after the pandemic, you still stood around for a little bit. And then were you like in the planning stage of trying to make a next move, or?
Yeah, well, I was actually planning on doing a barber school. That was my next build, but with the mall going down and not needing another lease for my employees that I have, the guys that were working with me, I had to find another spot. So that took up most of the time for me to get into the barber school thing.
Gotcha. And so now you're in a new location.
Yes, sir.
And go ahead and give us that. Where's that location?
Yeah, we're at 1936 West Southern Avenue, Mesa, Arizona. Yeah, awesome. Right on the corner of Dobson and Southern.
Yes, sir. So how's that new location going? It's you've done a lot of work in there, and are you still getting the same amount of traffic, the clientele, or did you have to kind of rebuild?
Yeah, it's definitely a rebuild. Anytime you move, it's going to be a rebuilding process. But it's been good. I have, solid clientele, and the barber that I have with me, Cliff, he also has a very good clientele. So we're good, man. I'm really excited about the new place. Looking forward to doing some new things and kind of, help change the game and take it another step further.
Awesome. And so now with where you are now, and if you're looking back over your entire career, what would you say, giving advice to these new barbers, what would you say is the one thing you would just give them?
New barbers, I would say don't neglect the children. So I know a lot of barbers that, don't like to do, little children and small kids, but that's where the bread and butter is, man. Especially for having them, over years, over time, that would probably be my biggest thing. Really, is to get into learning how to really, deal with small children. Then once you can do that, then because I even have clients that fall asleep in the chair. I tell them, don't worry about it. I deal with the children, so I'm used to heads just
bobbing and weaving.
Yeah.
And the point, I don't even feel it. Like, I don't even know. I just wake up and I'm done. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, really the children, they the future, they're everything. So
right.
That's where you can drop your seeds in, and that's where it's at.
Yeah, and then also we were talking previously about the kids, and you get a chance to see them grow, right? And you get to see how you can really make an impact on them. Getting them used to coming to a barbershop and being in a barbershop setting and watching them grow. So how is that rewarding for you to see that happen? And
oh, definitely.
What kind of things have you seen from the kids that have grown up in the shop?
Everything from high school graduation, to even I know a few guys that even went on to play in the NFL from here. Just watching them. There's a very good businessman. I watched a young man come out of high school, do car salesman. He killed that, and he went on to grow him a hedge fund business, and it's just really cool to see a lot of people grow and then have children.
Oh yeah.
And then the kids come looking like, I know I'm acting like that old man. I know your daddy. Yeah, I know your daddy. What's your daddy name? Richard. So yeah, man.
Yeah. So seeing generations now, you're seeing
yes, sir,
multiple generations come through the shop, and that's got to be a great feeling to know that you can still continue to serve. Like your service is that great that the parents want their kids to have the same experience that they had in the shop, and so that's an awesome feeling. So what's next? Is the barber school still on the
most
agenda?
Definitely. That's definitely has to happen. That is the future, and that's the only way that. And like I said, building with the children and the youth, and really giving them a foundation early. So yeah, the barber school is a must. There's a lot of places that you can learn how to cut hair, but I want to make it a place that is more than just a barber school. You know what I mean? You're going to learn more than the barber industry. Just real life skills. You know what I mean? How to really deal with people and get the best out of them. So, yeah.
Well, what's your secret sauce in dealing with people? Because that seems to be a major factor and value for you, is like, I need to know how to deal with people. So are there certain tips or things that you do to make sure you connect with that person?
Yeah. And I know it kind of may be sounding redundant, but it's still kind of a God gift that, just to be able to relate with people. And again, I go back to the basics, just try to treat people, the way you want to be treated. Not even try to treat people like you want to be treated. And I can learn something from everybody, you know what I mean, from every man. So there's no judgment. I think that's one of the big keys for me, even with some of the people that we would say are bums or, you know what I mean, down on their luck or whatever in life. I always tried to, treat them with dignity and pride. There was a few guys that in the neighborhood that, on the south side, they used to come by and clean up and stuff like that. But, we would never let anybody disrespect them. You
right.
know what I mean? And, I always try to uplift everybody and,
So you created a safe haven for
everybody,
a lot of folks. For everybody, that there was no judgment, the neutral zone that we can all just enjoy being in the barbershop.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
We laughed and joked. Now you
Yeah.
get cut. Now
Right.
you can get cut. but we wasn't, we wasn't on a heavy disrespect.
Right, right. So now that outside of barbering, what does Justice like to do? Like when you put the clippers down, you turn them off, turn the barber pole light off. What is Justice doing?
Man, I'm hanging with my family. You
Yeah.
know, I really enjoy grilling. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's one of my passions now. But really just hanging with the family. I do a lot of reading, you know. I have my own little study and books and stuff. So, reading and hanging with the family is pretty much it.
Yeah. So talking about family, you're married?
Yes, sir.
How many kids do
Yeah,
you
I
have, and how many have you raised?
Right. I have one son, but I was, we were fortunate enough to be able to help out my sister-in-law and help her raise 3 of her children. And, but yeah, just one son. My wife and I will be celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary come Christmas. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, man,
that's fantastic. Our anniversaries are actually around the same time. Christmas, mine's on the 27th. So
Yes,
yours is on Christmas Day, right?
It's actually the 25th.
On the 25th. So yeah. So we're just a couple of days apart. But
Well, we're
on
to Jamaica,
20.
man. What's going on? We're going to Jamaica on this one. Come on. Going to the
I need
islands,
some
man.
sponsorship so I can have Jamaica money. So if you're out there and you feel like dropping a few coins,
I know that's right. Yes, sir.
we can make it happen.
Yeah, Jamaica, Christmas. Let's go.
And that's a good time to go, Christmas. So it'd be.
I've heard that. I've
Yeah,
heard that.
the weather's nice or whatnot. And so now, with have you competed? Have you been in any competitions? Done any barber battles? What was that
sir.
like?
Yeah, in the early 2000s, we competed in a few. I'm fortunate enough to win a few. Fantasy competition when you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been fun. Those are a lot of fun. I wish they would come back. Square and Compass, bring it back. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And you learn a lot, and you get to mingle with other barbers and stuff. That was a very good time.
Yeah, I remember going to one of those battles. It was. This episode is brought to you by Leonetti's Barber Supply. We've been in the barber supply business since 1968, helping barbers deliver their best haircuts. We're located at 1633 East McDowell Road, Phoenix, Arizona, 85006. We've got everything you need. We've got your clippers, we've got your trimmers, we've got your disinfectants, everything you need to help you deliver your best haircut. Now let's get back to this episode. Barber battle / fashion show. The first one I attended, it was in Tempe at that, I think it was the Sheraton or something down there. And I think that's, when all the top barbershops were competing. And so I remember you all being there that time. So, and that was, I don't know, early 2000s, maybe.
Right.
So, so what's your favorite tool?
Razor. Yeah, that's when you get that. The razor. Because everybody can't do that either. You know, a lot of guys don't.
Yeah,
they almost getting away from it. I believe in California they not even teaching it in the barber school.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
They were having a real big, heavy thing with disease and stuff, I believe.
Sanitation is a problem. People not changing the blades. So with your razor work, because I know I get a lot of compliments when people see me. You know, it's been a few days, so don't judge me right now. And that I do get compliment on the crispiness, the sharpness of the lines, and the fade is always tight. So hence the name Fade Tight, right?
Yes,
so I get a lot of compliments. People always ask me, "Who's your barber?" Other barbers ask me, "Who's your barber?" I say, "My man Just. Go check him out," or whatnot. So so people definitely notice your work and respect your work, and people look up to you. We've had a few people on here who mention your name, as someone they look up to, and seeing what you're doing in the community, seeing how you've grown your business and how you've kept at it all these years, coming in from another city, and just seeing you prosper and grow as a business owner.
It was something else before a possibility, man. Another possibility to see something different. You know? And see somebody doing something that, hey, man, I could do that.
Right.
And it's legit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So where are we at on time? And we'll edit this out. All right. So being a business owner, what tips would you have for someone who wants to open their shop? What were some of the struggles that you went through in getting the shop up and running, or all multiple shops that you have? What would you say to those people?
One of the pitfalls that came to me when I first got my business loan to expand my shop is that there was miscellaneous things that I didn't account for. And there's miscellaneous things that you can account for. Mm-hmm. But if you could find a way to have that in your idea or in your mindset, it would help you. It would have helped me, one of the biggest pitfalls. For example, when I got my loan, I had the barber chairs. I got everything, written out that I think I need. And so there was I was expanding, mm-hmm. So there's 2 doors, mm-hmm. And I didn't put in taking this door out, mm-hmm. And we had did everything but that. But when the time came for us to have the door removed, the cost of it was exponential.
Right.
It was crazy. But again, through fate, man, we had the day before my equipment was coming, the brand new equipment, barber, back bar, chairs. The alarm on my the shop goes off at like 11:30 at night on a Sunday. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm just getting in here. So when I get down there, a guy had a seizure and ran into the building. He ran into the building, knocked out that door that was supposed to be knocked out. Went inside the beauty salon, right? And that's where, the car rested, and we all came, and, they got him out of there. Good thing he wasn't really injured very bad. But
so now you got the insurance take care of.
The insurance took care of it. So now I got a brand new barbershop with the door out, and the beauty salon next to me gets a brand new shop.
Wow! So everything
brand
lining
new on
up.
the front, lining up.
Wow, that's crazy. That's it's like a divine intervention.
Exactly.
And and the person who crashed into the building was fine.
Right.
Minimum injury. So that's crazy. So.
Yeah, so and that would be my advice when you start, have you a little kitty or something to the side for miscellaneous, mm-hmm. And I believe that'll save you from a big headache. At least I was saved from it, but that would really have been a big issue if that hadn't happened, if the crash hadn't happened.
So. Insurance is important.
Yes, sir. Definitely insurance is important. Got to have it.
You never know.
Yeah.
No matter how much you think it's a scam.
That's right. After 10 years of paying it without nothing happening, that's when you start feeling like it.
Right.
But, it is what it is. When it's time, it right. Definitely helps. Right.
So outside of having someone crash into your building, what would you say has been the craziest thing that you saw in the shop, like you would just never forget?
Well, there's been a few of them, man. Some of them I can't mention, but one in particular, man. A good friend of mine. A lot of people that in the city of Phoenix, Big Red. Big Red, one of my friends. He's really a big guy, 6'5", 400 pounds, and Sean Marion was in the shop, and Red's a popular guy, and he came in the shop one day, and Sean was getting a haircut. And Sean said, "Man, Red, look like you losing weight, man. I see you slimming down," and he was working on it, And he was like, "Yeah, I've been doing my thing." And he goes to sit down, and it's just unbelievable. It happened, but he goes to sit down, and he breaks the chair, and there's probably about 20 people in the bar. And everybody is laughing. People running out the doors. It was hilarious, man. It was hilarious. It was just unbelievable comedic timing, man. Yeah. Just
yeah.
He said, "Yeah, I'm
working on it."
He sat in that chair. Pow! Yeah, but there's been a lot of times, man. Rest in peace to my boy Duke Leaney, one of our clients that used to come to the shop, man, and have jokes all day, man. Even my barber Champ, man. It was some very, very good times, man. A lot of people got their belly tight, got their ab work at the barbershop, right?
So now bringing your team together and sort of grooming them to, being their example of running a shop, running a business. How many of those have gone on to start their own?
Yeah, man, I'm proud of man. There's a lot of guys, man. And a couple of them, they, I don't know if they know it, but I guess they kind of honor me with the Fade in their name, the House of Fades, like I said, that's Said spot, and they doing great down on the south side. And Ace of Fades, a guy named Kevin. Mm-hmm. Years ago, one of the guys that came through, Ali. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has Nappy by Nature, and he has a successful business, over 20 years in business. So, yeah, man, it's a lot of guys, man.
A lot of people who you were the springboard, the catalyst to get
and
them
even
going
guys
in their
that
career.
never worked at my shop. They still, were springboarded, by Fade Tight. Carr over at, he has his own place now, but Chris Carlson, man, Carl, he's one of the guys. I used to cut his hair, and he asked me, tips and stuff, asked me about it and all that. So, and he, went on to become a barber. Even Cuddy's, I remember him coming in school, going to barber school. They used to come, the whole couple of guys in the class come and just hang out at the barbershop every other day, and anytime they could. So, yeah, it's been a lot of guys that have been inspired by, what we've been able to do.
Man, that's awesome.
Yes,
so now being a mentor, and I'm sure they were asking you questions all the time of how do you do this, or how did you do this, and where do I go for this, and with the network that you've built over time, just knowing people, right, and having them in your back pocket, so when you need to call on them, what sort of experiences have you had with just having the people in your network?
Man, it's been great. As a judge, you know what I mean, and I've been, good friends with him. It's just been a lot of people, man. I've helped people get jobs, you know what I mean, and some of the jobs they've been on for a long time. So, the networking is always been great, man. That's one of the big things about the barbershop. Like earlier we were saying, you can get everything, and I mean almost just about everything. Like I said, a job, right? And just a lot of positives, man. A lot of pastors and reverends that come in, that have come in and prayed over the shop, and giving us good energy. So, yeah, the networking is big, and that's one of the things that you can't get out of a lot of other jobs. You know what I mean? The networking possibilities of a barbershop.
Yeah. Yeah. So with continue to grow your network, is there anybody that you just like, man, I need to meet somebody who does this?
No, well, I do need some marketing help. I don't know anybody that's, really getting down really good on that, but yeah, that's probably the biggest thing now, the new with the new social media and stuff like that. I'm a little slow in some of those things, and really staying up on it. What I mean? That's what's
yeah, and that's what I found is that as we get older and things change, we kind of get I wouldn't say stuck in our ways, but to adopt new things fast enough.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't happen as fast as it should.
Right.
And so at some point you're like, you know what? I don't even want to learn this. I'm just going to pay somebody to do this for me. Exactly. Can I find someone who can do it that's going to be reliable and things like that? So if you're looking for someone to help you in marketing.
Yes, sir. That's probably
he's got a job.
That's about the biggest thing right now with
Yeah. Yeah. So what outside of social media are there any things that you're currently doing that have been working in your marketing?
Man, my whole thing has been word of mouth.
Yeah.
Man. The thing that I do is the best haircuts I can do. You know what I mean? And that's all the marketing that has ever, done me any good. I've always did a little flyer work, little stuff like that. And discounts, what I mean? Those always go well. But man, it's always been word of mouth, man. And, the best service possible.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, at this time, we're going to wrap it up. Is there any final last words you'd like to leave with the people or anything you want to say?
Man, let's see here. I guess I would say something, to the effect that, go for your dreams. What you feel inside. Reach for it. Grab at it, and don't let nothing hold you back. Just stay true to it. One of the things that I always tell people that we can do, be, and have anything we want if we're willing to change. The Wright brothers did they were trying to make an airplane before anybody even knew that was a possibility. Looking crazy out there, looking crazy, trying to fly a plane. But if you understand the principles of really trying, and the only thing that keeps you from failing is you. Dang, I'm messing this up.
We got edits. We got edits.
Get me in the barbershop, but I'll be running.
Chop this up.
Yeah, please. Thank you. I done lost my thought.
You were talking about the Wright brothers.
Yeah, and the Wright brothers, someone had to, teach them some principles of how to make your dreams come true, because they were trying to do something that was literally impossible or seemed impossible. And so what I tell people when you're trying to create or do something new is that you just have to be willing to change. You can't stay trying to grind out the same thing the same way. You just have to tweak it a little bit, like the Wright brothers. They had to tweak it until they got it right. And that's one of the things that I see with a lot of people that try on adventures, to do something new, that they're not willing to change to make it work, And that's it, man. Just stay focused and be willing to change to make it work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, sometimes it's just those little small tweaks that can make a big impact on the outcome of what it is we're trying to achieve. So those are wonderful, great words of wisdom from my man, Justice.
Yes, sir.
Well, we certainly thank you for coming out today and spending this time with us, and we look forward to having you back, when we see this barber school.
Yes, sir.
Right,
yes,
and we'll get it popping.
I appreciate having me. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Barber Block Podcast, where we're talking to real barbers, also real people, and we're having real talk. We're here to share stories, to inspire, and to educate. So we thank you for tuning in to this episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Barber Block.